Senate Minority Whip Josh Stein is here to discuss budget and tax reform. Two big bills in 2 weeks, Senator. What do you make of it?
Well, I think when you put the two bills together, you see the choice that this Republican General Assembly is making, which is against the interest of the people of North Carolina. They have a tax bill. In this budget, it's going to take $500 million out of the budget, which, not coincidentally, is how much they're cutting public education. So they've made a trade that we're going to take $500 million out of our public schools, out of our community colleges and universities, in order to give a tax cut, 65% of which goes to the wealthiest 1% of the people in the state, 90% of which goes to the wealthiest 5%. So we are taking it out of our schools and giving it to the wealthiest among us, those who have done well in this economy, even during the recession. It is the wrong choice.
Here's the bet. If we cut rates in this state, we put people who aren't working, people who may have lost their unemployment, back to work.
That is a trickle-down economic theory which has not proven to work throughout history. The Republican simple mantra is cut taxes, cut taxes, cut taxes. We tried it in the Bush administration and ended up with the worst recession in about 80 years since the Great Depression. So they are betting the future of North Carolina on giving a lot of money to a few very wealthy people. I think the right bet is to educate our people and give young people a chance to get the skills they need in order to be attractive employees so that companies come here, one, because they want our workforce, and two, because they want their kids to go to those schools.
You know, I listened to the Senate floor debate. It seems every other day you're barbing with a Republican, whether it's Senator Apodaca, Senator Tillman, about we're unwinding this mess you Democrats did for 100 years. How long will that argument hold sway with them, that they're undoing Democratic policies and placing their own in its stead, and they can own this bill, they can own this economy?
Well, I'm afraid they're starting to own the future, and it's not a pretty future. They're engaged in a race to the bottom, and I think we should be racing to try to get to the top, and I think they're making the wrong choice. They have a very simplistic worldview that because we went through a recession here in North Carolina, it is a result of the fact that Democrats ran the legislature, were in charge of the legislature, and there were Democratic governors, forgetting the fact that this was a national and global recession. I'm sorry, but whoever was in charge of the North Carolina Senate did not create the world recession.
There will be a branding war that goes on off session, that this budget increases spending and it projects increased government spending, versus the other side, the progressive liberal side, that will say these folks have cut $500 million. Which is it if you're just a regular guy who comes home from work, reads the paper, feeds his family?
The way we do budgets is you take into account what is inflation, because if inflation's going up and your salary stays the same, you're actually losing money. You're not making it ahead, you're falling behind. And by the way, teachers suffered about an 8.5% inflation rate over the last 5 years, just like the rest of the state. They've only gotten a 1.2% salary increase in that time period. So North Carolinians are falling behind just by staying even. The other thing is our state continues to grow. We have a lot of new people coming in. We have to educate kids. We have to put more people in community colleges. Frankly, we have to put more people in jail. All of that costs money. So when you factor in just those two things, inflation rate and population growth, they are taking out about $2.5 billion from the budget over the next 5 years. Here's the deal. This is on a level that's already a recession-era level budget. We lost about 5,000 teachers over the course of the recession. What their budget does is it locks in those lost jobs. We aren't adding teachers precisely when we should be. When you get out of the recession, you make up some of the ground you lost, and they're not doing that. They're giving these tax cuts to wealthy and to large out-of-state corporations, 90% of shareholders of which live outside North Carolina. That's who they're giving the tax cuts to.
Senator Josh Stein, thanks for being on Legislative Week in Review this season. We'll see you off session and probably have you on TV again real soon.
Thanks, Kelly.